AOC got shut down with one simple line.
Democrat gaslighting produces zero emissions.
During a House Energy Committee hearing, Alexandria tried to slam Trump's energy policy without understanding what it actually does. But John James called out her hypocrisy. And today, we're covering it all. So, if you're an independent thinker, hit the subscribe button and let's kick things off with AOC's take.
And these tariffs will increase prices in other commodities as well. So what I'm hearing is that despite all of this talk that Donald Trump and the Republican Party have about driving down energy costs, their first decisions are actually to drive up energy costs, including prices at the pump across the United States. And that has knock-on effects across the entire economy, right? These prices are not just contained. They're not just hiking prices on oil and gas. Oil and gas prices will then hike up prices on groceries and pretty much any good that gets transported, as well as housing and construction, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, it's funny how quickly roles change. Now that her party is out of power, AOC has rebranded herself as a supply chain expert, talking about how high gas prices hurt working families and spike the cost of everything. But keep in mind, this is the same person who pushed for the Green New Deal initiative and was a loud supporter of the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which is built around taxing fossil fuels and raising energy costs. And we're not just talking about a few cents at the pump. A Wall Street Journal report that came out in April of last year found that, quote, since Biden took office, electricity prices have soared around 30%, rising 13 times faster than the previous 7 years. But Alexandria didn't stop there, as she went after the supposed effects of Trump's energy policies will have on the economy, saying this.
And so we are looking at almost an all-economy increase in prices, and that has also been backed up in previous price changes as well. In fact, oil production, and what we've seen is that in 2023, and some of these gas price increases, we saw knock-on effects across the entire economy before, right, with gas?
Yes.
Okay. So I think what we need to really hone in on here is the fact that what we're seeing is that the Trump administration is saying one thing, but doing another. And if the Trump administration is promising to lower energy prices, it's important for us to ask, why are they making decisions to do the opposite? But let's talk.
I hope you're not asking me that question. I don't know.
When it comes to Trump's energy policy, AOC couldn't be more wrong. From day one, Trump made energy a top priority, signing an executive order to unleash American energy. The result didn't take long. Within 6 months, gas prices dropped to the lowest levels we've seen since the pandemic. And according to recent data, overall energy prices fell by 0.8% year over year this June. In a time when everything else seems to be getting more expensive, that's a rare win for everyday Americans. The reason for all this happening is simple. Trump has been laser focused on this issue. And he didn't just stop at domestic moves. He managed to get the Gulf countries to cooperate and keep prices relatively stable. And they play a major role in influencing global energy markets. After AOC's time was finished, John James was up next. And the way he kicked things off was absolute perfection.
Democrat gaslighting produces zero emissions. But what does their radical agenda mean for constituents in my districts and your districts who pay more at the pump, who pay more for groceries? Folks in Southeast Michigan have experienced their jobs being extinct, being shipped to other states, being shipped to other countries because Green New Deal woke policies do not work in the real world. Let's look at this from a 30,000-foot view. Over the past 4 years, every American has footed a higher gas bill, higher energy costs, and rising prices to keep their cars running and their homes heated. Under the Biden-Harris administration, they totally bent over to the radical left. We stopped producing cleaner, affordable energy in America to fit a narrative that only serves coastal elites and the rich in New York and California. What did this lead to? Our strategic petroleum reserves hit lows we haven't seen since I was a baby. That meant U.S. relying on energy that was unclean, energy that I would note are from dictators and despots in Moscow and Beijing and Tehran. Here's the inconvenient truth for my friends on the left. Energy produced and developed here in America is cleaner, it's safer, and it doesn't threaten our national security. In fact, it bolsters it. Another failed policy billable to the Biden administration is importing sour crude, which has funded our adversaries. And we talk about infrastructure investments on the left side. Well, how about shutting down the Keystone Pipeline, which got rid of 11,000 union jobs?
He's absolutely right. When it comes to the strategic oil reserves the Biden administration used to offset the price rise after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And according to Politico, quote, the stockpile dipped to its lowest levels since the early 1980s. On top of that, they were struggling to refill it. Now, to be fair, the reserve is not being significantly refilled under Trump either. But the One Big Beautiful Bill included $1.3 billion to purchase new petroleum for the reserve, which signals they're planning to do so. And when it comes to energy infrastructure, there's a night and day difference between the current administration and its predecessor. The Keystone Pipeline is just one example among many. And I'll let Representative James give a few more points from his home state of Michigan.
Last year, I spoke on the House floor about how Biden's war on LNG was going to harm Michigan specifically. We have 1.1 trillion cubic feet in underground storage, which is one eighth of the entire nation's natural gas storage capacity. Given DTE and consumers' baseload requirements that are increasing over the years versus the regulations in Michigan, we've been dealing with heavy-handed restrictions on building additional natural gas facilities and the supporting infrastructure requirements that we need to convey that safely with less power outages across the state. With a Republican House, Republican Senate, and White House, what can this Congress do to scale up natural gas as a reliable source? Again, Mr. McCown.
Well, there are several things we can do. Number one is we can stop the war on fossil fuels. We can have revised permitting. We can invoke public-private partnerships, loan guarantees. Some of the very same things that have been done for the renewable industry could be done to expand our natural gas or other fossil fuel industry, too. It should be a level playing field for everybody.
We all want clean air. We all want clean water. We all want to reduce pollution. But we also don't want to send our countrymen to the poorhouse trying to pay for sunshine and rainbows that before our infrastructure is ready for it.
This is what it all boils down to. Yes, we want to decrease pollution, but not at the cost of taking steps that hurt people. For instance, when it comes to green energy, an article from CNBC said, quote, most of the U.S. electric grid was built on the 1960s and 70s. Today, over 70% of it is more than 25 years old. He added, the network of transmission lines that carry electricity is outdated and not set up to meet the anticipated demand for clean energy sources like wind and solar. That's a real problem. You can't just slap solar panels on rooftops and call it a day. Real solutions need real infrastructure, not slogans and idealism. But that level of nuance doesn't play well on a campaign flyer. And that's where AOC comes in. Her strength isn't in the details. It's in selling promises that sound great, but don't hold up under pressure. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, keep on thinking.